Spike and Velma entered the Wonder Factory. The two were in luck because their arch-enemy, Freddy Fazbear, was in the building as well.
Look who it is. The infamous Freddy Fazbear.
Spike declared.
And his trusty sidekick, Velma.
Said Velma.
You two are a sight for sore eyes,
said Freddy, fawning all over Spike and Velma.
I'm going to be so glad when this terrible curse is lifted and we can turn back into human beings again. Of course, we won't be needing this goofy factory anymore, so we can just destroy it.
Oh, I wouldn't do that,
said Velma.
I've always wanted to see it up close.
I know you have, Velma,
said Freddy.
And I'm sure I'd never want to see it again either.
Velma looked at Freddy and the two started to chuckle.
I've got a solution to our problem right here,
Velma said, pulling the stone of Volcar out of her pocket.
See this, Freddy?
said Velma.
This is the stone of Volcar.
Is it?
asked Freddy.
I've never seen a stone like that before. It looks like a ruby to me.
Rubies are red, silly.
Velma said.
This stone brought me back to life.
Is it a fake?
Freddy asked.
What?
asked Velma.
Is this a fake?
Of course not, Freddy.
said Velma.
I'd never do a thing like that to you, I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I guess we were stuck with you then.
said Freddy.
Yes, we are.
said Velma.
Now, let's get to work.
Work?
Freddy asked.
You mean steal a bunch of animatronic robots from this place?
We're not here about the robots.
Spike said.
We're collecting the shards of Excalibur.
Velma explained.
Shards of what?
asked Freddy.
Excalibur.
said Velma.
It's the sword of King Arthur.
Never heard of it.
said Freddy.
Of course you haven't, because no one's ever told you about it.
said Velma.
Who cares?
Freddy said.
I don't want to hear about it. I'd rather just hear about the robots. What's the point of having them if I don't get to use them?
Why would you want to use them anyway?
Velma asked.
You're not exactly the heroic type. You'd probably turn into a coward if you actually had to go through with a heroic deed.
I don't care.
said Freddy.
I want to take the robots anyhow. So let's just get to it.
Velma rolled her eyes and sighed.
Fine.
She said.
We have to break into the Wonder Factory.
This is the Wonder Factory.
Freddy said, gesturing to the walls that hummed with magic and electricity.
Well, yeah, but there's other areas beyond this.
said Velma.
Other places where we can steal robots.
Oh, really?
Freddy asked.
Yes.
Velma said.
So let's get to it, shall we?
Freddy yawned and the three villains walked into the factory and down the halls.
You should have asked me first.
Freddy said.
We've just begun work again after the tyrant shut us down. We've only been in operation for a few weeks.
The point is,
Velma said.
you're new around here, so you don't know the lay of the land. I worked here for years. Before the fall, I've seen every area of the factory.
Really?
Freddy asked.
Yes, really.
Velma said.
Now come on. I know where the shard is.
I suppose it can't be avoided.
Freddy sighed. Freddy, Spike, and Velma walked down the halls of the Wonder Factory.
I'm not sure any of the robots are going to be working today.
Freddy said.
Most of the workers are stuck in the basement, and the rest are either on their lunch break or doing maintenance on the building.
There goes that plan then.
Said Spike.
You say we could use the robots to steal the shards, but now the only ones we can use are the ones that aren't working.
Or we could steal the robots that aren't being used.
What if one volunteered?
Came a voice from the shadows. The three turned to see a robotic wolf girl dressed in vibrant clothes. Sitting next to her was a young woman with green hair.
Your friends Rarity and Rainbow Dust told us you might need some help.
The wolf girl said.
My name's Roxanne. This is Jolene.
I'm Spike,
The dragon said.
and this is Velma. So what do you say? Can we catch you in?
What exactly are we supposed to do? Exactly.
Freddy asked.
Well,
Said Roxy.
if the other pennies knew we helped you out, they'd never let us live it down.
Exactly.
Said Spike.
Don't listen to her, Spike.
Velma said.
I know you too. You helped defeat the Nightmare Turret.
And you stole the stone I gave to the Emerald Hero.
Roxy replied.
But we all want the same thing, don't we?
Yeah.
Said Spike.
The destruction of the Nightmare Turret. As it stands, he might still win out over Fluttershy. And we can't have that.
Sure, that's true enough.
Said Freddy.
But how do we know if we can trust you?
You don't.
But
Said Velma.
we helped you out.
Well,
Said Roxy.
we certainly don't want to hurt you.
And we certainly don't want to hurt you.
At that moment, a voice crackled over the factory's loudspeakers.
All employees should immediately return to their jobs. The Nightmare Tyrant has returned, and we cannot allow him to wreak havoc once again. All employees should report for duty at once, or suffer the consequences. Repeat, employees should report for duty at once, or suffer the consequences.
That's our cue to leave.
said Roxy.
But what about the shards?
Spike asked.
We'll worry about that later.
Said Velma.
I suppose.
Come on.
Said Roxy.
We need to hurry. I hear a bunch of maintenance bots coming this way.
Roxy led the group out of the factory, through the halls, and to a maintenance entrance. Roxy typed in the code and the locks clicked, and the doors swung open. The group walked out into a hallway.
The only way to go is down this elevator.
Roxy said, leading the way.
I think I know another way.
Velma said.
Oh,
Yeah, all the main entrances to the factory are guarded by security bots. We could sneak in through an underground service tunnel.
I love it when you two get all devious.
Said Spike.
But even I wasn't aware of the existence of the tunnel. You two bring me any souveners.
Nothing yet,
Velma said.
but we'll have to search all the service tunnels.
Then lead on.
Spike said.
To the place where I can get even.
Velma, Freddy, and Spike walked through the tunnels. Roxy and Jolene followed close behind. Freddy kept glancing behind him, expecting to see a security bot coming down the hallway, but they seemed to be alone. Soon, they arrived at a ladder leading up to the factory floor.
The service tunnels come out here.
Velma said, climbing up the ladder and emerging into the open. The group followed Velma out of the service tunnels and into the open factory floor.
So where is everyone?
Jolene asked.
They are all on their lunch break.
Said Velma. The room appeared empty, buzzing with electronics and green magic. They looked around the room but were surprised to find they weren't as alone as they thought. Standing in the corner, behind a large factory panel, was a purple dragon watching them.
Well, well,
Said the dragon, shifting into the form of a tall green woman.
isn't this classy? I haven't seen you since your last raid on my homeworld, and it looks like you brought some friends.
Hello, Maleficent.
Velma said, stepping forward.
We need to speak with you.
Why?
Maleficent asked.
You're guarding one of the shards of Excalibur.
Velma said.
We needed to put an end to the nightmare turret once and for all.
Oh, they are cute,
Maleficent said.
and I suppose you might be useful. But I suppose you don't now, that do you?
Oh, yeah,
Velma said.
we might.
Oh, how convenient in that case. I suppose you can all come with me to retrieve the shard.
What?
Said Jolene, stepping back.
No, I'm not going to.
It's okay, Jolly.
Said Velma.
She's not planning on betraying us.
I should hope not.
Maleficent said, scanning the group.
I'll have to get rid of you.
No, that's not.
Said Jolene.
But
Said Roxy.
oh, I can't wait to see the look on the Nightmare Tyrant's face when he finds out.
Said Maleficent, smiling.
Now, come along, you five.
I'm not going anywhere with you.
Jolene said.
Oh, I wouldn't recommend trying to run away.
I'm not running away.
Jolene said.
I'm not the one who's betraying your best friends.
Oh, really?
really?
Said Roxy, stepping forward.
Let's see if this little chat between friends turns into a fight.
No,
Jolene said.
this isn't how.
Shush!
Said Roxy.
If you say one more word,
Said Maleficent.
I'll have to attack you and the Nightmare Tyrant will win.
Fine.
Jolene said.
I'll go with you, but I'm still not.
Not another word.
Said Roxy.
Let's just trust her. I've got your back.
Okay,
Jolene said.
I'll go with you.
Maleficent turned to face the open doorway.
Come along then.
The group followed Maleficent through the doorway and into the heart of the factory, past a long line of service tunnels and through an open area filled with giant fans.
We call this the fan room,
Maleficent said, winking at the group.
because if you happen to get caught in here, without a jacket, the fans will help you keep cool. Now, come along, unless you'd rather do a fiery death.
No, we are coming along.
Good. I'm glad we got that straightened out.
Maleficent said.
Now, let's get to the heart of it.
Suddenly, Jolene gasped.
What is it?
Roxy asked.
The Nightmare Tyrant.
Jolene whispered. Suddenly, in the distance, they heard the wail of the Nightmare Tyrant.
Quickly,
Maleficent said, leading the group through the open area towards a large set of doors.
into the service tunnels.
The group ran toward the doors, and ducked through them and into the service tunnels. Through the tunnels, they ran in the direction of the sound of the Nightmare Tyrant's voice. Suddenly, they came upon a large service elevator, floating in the middle of the dark tunnel.
Quickly inside.
Maleficent said, pushing them all inside. The group stumbled into the elevator, and the doors slammed shut. The elevator lurched forward, slowly drifting downwards into the depths of the factory. Jolene leaned against one of the side walls of the elevator, her eyes wide with fear.
It's going to be all right.
Said Velma, putting her arm around Jolene.
We're going to get through this.
Suddenly, the elevator jerked to a stop.
What was that?
Jolene asked.
I think we've stopped.
Velma said. She was cut off by the sound of the elevator opening.
Quickly. Into the service tunnel.
Maleficent shouted. The group ran down the tunnel and through another set of heavy wooden doors. They entered the control room of the Wonder Factory. In the middle of the room, hovering above the floor, was the glowing blue shard of Excalibur,
There it is.
said Maleficent. Velma approached the shard tepidly.
I'm going to need a large screwdriver.
She said.
Don't you have something smaller?
Asked Roxy.
I don't know any smaller.
Velma said.
I have an 8 1/4, but that might not be wide enough.
I've got a 10.5.
Said Freddy, rummaging through his backpack.
It has a really long handle. Also, it'll take some doing to get it in there.
How is it that you always seem to have the right tools at the right time?
Asked Jolene, staring at Freddy in disbelief.
Luck.
Said Freddy.
We don't have time for this.
Said Maleficent.
Let's just get this over with and get out of here.
Velma pried at the shard with the chisel-like end of the screwdriver, working slowly and methodically. The group stood back, nervously watching. The Nightmare Tyrant continued to cackle maniacally in the distance. Finally, the shard came free with a loud cracking sound. A hissing sound could be heard, like the sound of 1,000 snakes slithering across 1,000 stones. Instantly, the shards began screaming in pain, and the entire group jumped backward in fright. Velma leaned down, touching the shard with the stone of Volcar. Instantly, the shard's screaming stopped.
That was scary.
Said Roxy, shaking.
The shards are possessed by the Nightmare Tyrant.
Said Maleficent.
Excalibur first shattered when he did battle with the goddesses of the sun and the moon. Only a powerful artifact like the Stone of Volcar can dispel his influence.
What's the Stone of Volcar like?
Jolene asked.
It's a strange-looking thing.
Said Maleficent, holding the stone up and studying it.
It looks like a ruby.
Said Freddy.
It's more like a ruby, like something.
Said Maleficent.
It's a ruby.
I told you, rubies are red.
Velma said, taking the stone back.
This is more like a glowing blue stone.
I told you I don't like this place.
Said Jolene, huddling closer to the group.
I knew this was a bad idea.
It doesn't matter.
Said Velma.
We have to get out of here now.
I'm going to miss my show.
Said Roxy wistfully.
It's not your show that's got to be concerned.
Velma said firmly.
It's the rest of us. We're in danger here. Not you.
Roxy frowned.
I don't like this place either.
She said.
Then stay in the Wonder Factory.
Velma said.
Stay safe.
No way.
Roxy said.
I am coming with you. Look, I don't like this place any more than you do. Please, any more is it? You do, please, but we need to stick together.
I guess.
Said Velma.
But if you really want to come, at least take the Stone of Volcar with you. We do need someone to protect it in case we fail.
Roxy took the stone from Velma and placed it in one of her compartments.
I'm coming with you.
She said.
Good.
Said Maleficent.
We'll need everyone.
It seems we have a deal.
Said Roxy.
Let's go.
Said Velma. So I was intrigued by the introduction of a Wonder Factory at the end of the previous chapter, and I wanted to see what the AI would do with that concept left to its own devices. So I only provided the narration of Spike and Velma entering the factory, and then the AI immediately introduced someone with a name that was like a Fuzzy Fiddlebottom or something like that, and it just sounded like Freddy Fazbear to me, so I just kind of embraced it. And I thought that the toy Freddy design and voice kind of best suited the way the AI wrote him, so that's what we got here. Similarly, when the AI randomly had a dragon appear in the factory later, I kind of just used that as an excuse to work Maleficent back into the story. I figured since we'd seen her in this green computer room in the past, I just kind of, tweaked the description of the room here and there to make it feel like the same location. That place was never really explained, but we knew it was near the Emerald City like the Wonder Factory is, so I think it makes sense for Rainbow Dash to have just ended up in the Wonder Factory's service tunnels somewhere back in Chapter 20. Our first shard of Excalibur is collected now, although I don't really expect them all to come with the weird, wails and laughter of the Nightmare Tyrant when they're collected. I doubt the AI will keep that detail. But, I want to take a little bit of a break from this group. We've been following them for a while. And the next chapter, I think we'll rejoin the Simpsons and kind of see what's been going on with them following their escape from Castle Oblivion, because we haven't seen them at all since they were in the Nightmare Tyrant's clutches. So I hope to see you all there. And if you happen to miss the previous chapter, here's a little clip.
How do I know that's you?
Because
The Nightmare Tyrant said, grinning evilly.
I am you.
No,
Spike said,
you don't own me. I'm a free spirit.
Not anymore.
The Nightmare Tyrant said.
You're my slave, your will is my will, and you will do as I say.
That's no way to treat your friends.
Spike said.
Friends?